This is Kung Pao Enter the Minute 17, opening frame.
A mid-flashback blurry shot of Master Tang followed by the startling revelation of how he killed the dog. After the flashback blurs back to the present, we cut to a close-up of the Chosen One who informs us that he officially knows too much, before randomly asking,
"And why are you in bed?"
We cut to Master Tang suddenly in bed. Next to him is Ling with an incredibly disheveled Wimp Lo in the foreground. As Master Tang starts to slip back into yet another flashback, Chosen One interrupts him, and Master Tang refrains, much to the Chosen One's relief. Master Tang invites the Chosen One to train at his school as he searches for Master Pain. Wimp Lo immediately volunteers to do so for some reason, but is then chastised by Master Tang.
"In your dreams!"
Before being overcome by yet another coughing attack. No moth in sight this time. As Master Tang suffers from his respiratory attack, Ling starts hammering on his back as the subjects in the foreground kneel before him.
Yes, play me like a drum.
Without moving his mouth, Master Tang screams in various degrees of agony as he is lifted out of his bed, leading to another coughing fit and some various disgusting guttural noises. As Master Tang is once again settled down, he informs the Chosen One that his assistant Ling will assist him, letting him know that he shouldn't be concerned about her shyness. After a couple of glances between the two, we land on the closing frame, an extreme close-up of Ling's covered breasts and a hand making a movement across them.
Well, my voice sounds a bit different this episode. That's because I'm joined by my guest host of 60 Seconds to Comply, Connor Coulson.
Hi, and 60 other podcasts.
And it's 60 Seconds to Comply plus the 59 other ones.
Yes.
So you're finally in my territory.
I know, you've been on Prometheus by Minute, now I'm in a very different genre, very different style on Kung Pao. I
know. We're a little bit looser here, a little bit more freer. I mean, you don't have to do quite as much research because, that's A, my job, and B, this is Kung Pao!
Yeah, I smashed out my notes in an afternoon. It was so weird.
You have notes? I usually have like one line.
I can't help myself. I overanalyze everything.
Yeah, and you definitely get a lot of that in the... I'm going to try and mentally get these right. Prometheus by Minute, Covenant by Minute, Legacy by Minute... Oh, there's a Tron one. Uprising?
Tron Uprising, yep, which we call Animatronic.
And you also do Raised Bibles with Studio Yutani.
And I've just finished Raised Bibles because it was the worst thing ever. Oh my god.
So you're definitely going to be a little bit more lighthearted with this add-on.
Yes, it's going to be a welcome relief.
So you introduced me to this concept that, you being the guest, I have to ask you a certain question, and that is, how the hell did you find this?
I think my parents found this movie and showed it to us, and I was 10 when it came out, so it was 2002, I'm pretty sure.
I'm trying to remember what year it was released on VHS, but yeah, the theatre release is 2002.
So I got two younger brothers, Jordan, he's 2 years younger than me, and then Dylan, he's 6 years younger, so he would have been a wee babby at the time.
Yeah.
But Jordan and I, we are like a little improv comedy duo, we always were. And so I would do the voices, and he would do... He's like Jim Carrey. He's very good at all the physical stuff, and so
which is not great for a podcast, I guess.
Yes. So good thing I'm the voice guy. So he would do all the physical reenactment of Kung Pao, and I
wow!
And like, you may call me Betty, stuff like that.
Well, we haven't got to the evil Betty quite just yet,
yes.
But it's funny, I try and keep this somewhat in continuity so I don't talk about the reveals, but at the same time, oh god, evil Betty is just so good.
I mean, I kept referring to Alien Covenant while reviewing Prometheus, so,
I know.
Talk about jumping ahead.
I'm trying not to talk too much about things that happen in the future so I have a chance to talk about them.
True. But yeah, the other night, Jordan and I were doing a Transformers AU, an alternate universe, if you will. We're just doing this little skit, just goofing, where we were wrestlers. So I was Megatron and he was Optimus Prime. But as wrestlers.
Oh, wow. Because my brain immediately went to Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah, Megatron.
So, because he was a heel, wasn't he, Macho Man Savage? So he would technically be Megatron, but he feels like he's got such Optimus energy.
Yeah, well, see, we grew up with more, like The Rock and all that stuff. So we were channeling that.
I'm WrestleMania, like, back in the 80s.
Yeah, we were doing 90s, 2000s wrestlers.
Yeah, back when the wrestling had color. You know, not just, like, black leather and flesh.
Yeah, like freaking The Undertaker and all that shit. It's all black.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of got out. I wouldn't say I grew out of wrestling, but I kind of stopped watching it before then.
I grew up in the worst period of time for everything. Music was just like boy bands and girl bands, and TV was Beast Wars and freaking G.I. Joe Extreme, and we had the worst of everything.
You do grow up in the post 9/11 world, and I'd like to formally apologize, but yeah, that's probably the American imperialism coming back to bite it on the ass. Politics, I think I've dragged that up in this. No, we do a lot of politics on RoboCop, but
yeah.
It's kind of fun and freeing to just deal with a movie that's just kind of just goofy.
I insert politics into everything to the point that if I've talked about this a bit, I am working on an ever-expanding Transformers video essay series.
Yeah,
and
part 1 in 500.
I've just spent the past few days trying to figure out what the fuck Megatron actually wants, because the politics are written by adults, but you wouldn't think it reading it.
Well, it all goes back to the idea that, cartoons in the 80s, it was just simply good versus... A lot of it was just simply good versus evil, just to sell a toy, so...
Oh, it's never explained in G1. They never explain what he... It's just like, I want Cybertron. Well, then no one's there right now.
I kind of thought in the first episode he controlled Cybertron. That was the whole point of them leaving, so...
I don't understand.
But then they crash land on... no.
We'll save that for the ever-expanding Transformers
That's when you start doing the Transformers by Minute podcast, and I come on to start going,
one day,
I don't get it.
One day you and I are going to do a Transformers G1 retrospective series.
That part of me is just like, I'm all down for it. Part of me is just like, I'm not sure if I can do that sober.
I think that should be one where we just go in we watch it, but that's it. We just go in totally blind, just react to it.
We could, actually, you know what we could do? We could do an audio commentary cast. We'd just watch the episode and just riff it.
Yeah.
Quickly, I just want to get back to the, get experience this first time. Did you have a background in watching, like, martial arts movies before that? Or was this kind of like the first thing you'd ever seen and it kind of just went, wow!
I'd probably seen Jackie Chan movies before that.
That's cool.
I thought they were pretty cool.
Because, by that time he'd started to break out into the US, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because, Rumble in Bronx was a big hit, and was this before or after Rush Hour?
The Tuxedo.
Oh, that... I still haven't seen The Tuxedo. I can't...
It's not bad, actually. I watched it the other... Actually, no. Given how time moves now. Probably like a year ago, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday, which in 2020 was about 3 months ago, yes.
Yes.
We are in the longest timeline. No, that's...
It came out the exact same year.
This... I do like to point out, this wasn't a box office hit, it made its money back, that was it. So it was a $10 million budget, made $17 million back. It wasn't even a huge rental for as far as I'm concerned. This is very much a cult movie. And so it's always interesting to find out where people got their infection vector, is the word. Because the funny thing is, I haven't explained my end.
Oh, yes, please do.
I kind of covered it a little bit when I was talking to Kaneda. But when I was in uni, there was this little weird video that was going around called Thumb Wars. And it was Odekirk's little short films he was making where it's literally like a face being digitally put onto a thumb. And the thumb's got like, costumes and stuff like that on it. But, they digitally put their face on the thumb, and it's just like them fighting,
I saw those on... There was this company called Atom Films. It was this British company back
Never
in
heard of them.
the late 90s, early 2000s, and you'd pay this subscription and you'd get
Oh.
access to all these original short films.
Yeah.
And so that's where I saw Angry Kid and I saw
Oh
Thumb
God, Angry
Wars.
Kid.
Yeah, God, traumatizing.
Oh, I
And-
forgot all about Angry Kid.
Yeah, taking your way back. And
Yeah.
yeah, I saw all sorts of Star Wars short films. It was Pink 5. And yeah, it was
Oh,
that.
I remember. I think the first ever Star Wars fan film I ever saw was Troops, which was the cops
Oh, yeah,
parody.
yeah.
That was classic.
Yeah, so that was where I was seeing all these sort of little indie
Hmm.
things at the time. I don't know why my dad signed up for that, but it was a good thing in hindsight.
That's pretty cool. Because this is like the years. This was literally like just only a couple of years before YouTube. So video spreading wasn't really a huge thing because, like, the speeds were not great.
Yeah, hang on, was Salad Fingers? I think Salad Fingers was around at the time.
Yeah, Salad Fingers was. Yeah, definitely around that time. But that was also. This was the Flash era, like for.
Yeah, Kill Frog. Oh my God, Kill Frog.
I don't recall Kill.
If anyone
Frog,
remember,
but-
it was horrendous. It was like trying to be, that drawn together South Park style edgy humor.
I was a big fan of Animutation back in the day, and I still will play a few Animutations now and again. And like badges, all that type of stuff was back
It's
then.
weird how those things were able to go viral, even though there wasn't a YouTube as a central hub to share it all.
Yeah, a lot of that was just spread through forums back in the day.
Wow, this is taking me back.
Yeah, and if I get very nostalgic for like 2004 because of just like the explosion of creativity on the internet, all things except for music. Because god damn, listening to the radio in 2004 was like pulling teeth. If I actually reach behind me, I have to literally drag my chair across. But if I reach behind me, I actually have all the Australian released thumb. There is a specific term for it, Thuminations.
Dominations.
On DVD. The only ones I don't have is the God Thumb and the Blair Thumb project. They were never released over here, and trying to get them over.
I can't believe you own physical copies of this stuff.
I own Thumbtanic, which is amazing.
Are you worried about the internet being taken out by something?
I-
Or
most-
should we be worried?
Most of these were purchased before, streaming things are about, and, I don't trust a lot of streaming companies. Okay, I like owning physical copies of things because then when like a subscription runs out, you can still watch something. Or when like the net's shoddy, like when I moved house and didn't have the internet for 3 months.
Oh my God, I didn't have internet in this house. They didn't even have a phone line. I had to wait. And it was the new year, so I had to wait
Yeah.
until businesses opened up again. Then they could put in a phone line. She was just like my landlady. She was just using mobile data 24/7, going that would last me about a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is when The Witcher had come out. I'm just
God.
like, oh, I need to watch this. I want to watch. Oh God.
I held off on that for the longest time because I had that kind of like Henry Cavill. I mean, he was good in Man from U.N.C.L.E., but I still had that Schneider shock.
Nah, I love him. He's great.
And it was just like, I put on the first episode and I was like, I've got to watch the rest of this now, damn it. It's so good. And then the timeline gets screwed and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this fucking series?
Yeah, I've read the books, I've played the games, so I was totally fine. But it is very difficult to... I think the games are probably the best introduction, but otherwise, yeah, it's impossible to penetrate.
I would say not really, because I've tried playing that first game 3 times. I've
already told you, I mean the Wild Hunt. Don't play the first 2 games, fuck that shit. Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, that's where it's at.
Well, I now own I got gifted a copy of Witcher 3 by my friend, and I'm there going, yeah, I can't play this because my computer's too crap. Which hopefully in a couple of weeks I will have a new computer, or at least a new motherboard, CPU, RAM, blah 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 blah. And so yes, give me money on Patreon and coffee. No one's giving any money on Patreon and coffee. It's almost like no one listens to this. Who cares? I'm having fun.
Do what you love.
So this is the introduction of Ling into the episode, although we don't really get a really good look at Ling. Well, we get a very good look at Ling in literally the last frame, and subsequent seconds,
Yep, she gets a close up, just not the one you're expecting.
she gets an extreme close up. It's just we don't get to see her as a character really until like the next couple of minutes. But we have talked in the past about our mutual love for Master Tang.
Master Tang is the best character in this movie, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think Master Tang is the best character and possibly the worst human in this movie.
Yes.
Because he's kind of a creep.
Yeah.
And just as a teaser, I've got actually something really kind of cool to drop next minute. So I'll pepper that in now. You pretty much start doing Master Tang at a drop of a hat, don't you? That's one of your voices, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Just, I don't know. I can't think of a Tang line right now. Oh.
Yes, play me like a drum.
Oh, yeah, yes, play me like a drum. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Next minute, which is just full of his, oh, Jesus. Wow.
In your dreams. Which is like 2 steps away from my Starscream voice, so it's,
Yeah, it's almost like Starscream was a 10 pack a day smoker, wasn't it? Starscream's a little bit of a creep.
Yeah.
But at least he's a bit of a suck ass. That's probably Wimplo as well.
I have not mentioned Star Trek, but I've mentioned Transformers. So whatever show I'm on, I'm going to mention inevitably Star Trek or Transformers. So,
yeah.
We've ticked one off.
I don't think I've actually mentioned Star Trek on this show before.
I'll correct that. Don't worry.
The one thing I wanted to bring up about Ling is that... that's... Okay, so... We don't get the Wii U's this minute, which is a bit of a sad...
No, but they are iconic.
She has barely said a word except for, like, 2 lines of dialogue in minute 12, 13, something like that. I mean, that was... I recorded that about 5 years ago in 2020 time, so it's hard to recall these things. No, Ling was played by an actress called Si Ling Ling.
Oh, there you go. Very easy to remember her name.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if that's just the Odekirk, being silly buggers. I'm just actually trying to dig up the... See, I've got the Wikipedia open, but I want to get the Tiger and Crane Fist one. Because in the original movie, she's not called Ling, obviously, and most of these characters I just can never remember, except for Liu Kang, which of course makes me laugh. It's spelled differently to Mortal Kombat, but who cares? But no, with Ling, there's actually 3 actresses who played
Now you
Ling.
got that song stuck in my head.
Which one?
Mortal Kombat!
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's so good.
And that's another book was better connection, because I did that particular... I'm trying to think what a Kung Pao novelization would look like. I'm just imagining all the sound effects that...
Wait, isn't there a novelization? Isn't that what you play clips from? There's the audiobook.
Oh, okay, so, the audiobook. I thought I explained this in the first episode, but I'll definitely go over it again. So, there's an audio track on the DVD.
Oh, it's from that. I wondered where that came from.
It's called the audiobook, but it's just a British guy re-saying the dialogue. That's it.
Oh.
It's not even audio for the deaf, which I actually think probably could have been a bit better, to be honest. That
Audio descriptive, yeah.
audio description, be a bit more accessibility, but this was just literally a dumb Easter egg that Odekirk threw on, which is kind of his thing.
I love it. That's great. It's even better now.
Yeah.
Earlier we were talking about martial arts, and I didn't actually get into it too much.
Oh,
but
shit, go on. Yeah.
It's interesting that, I was watching these martial arts movies, but I was never really impressed because I just didn't really understand what was involved in that, I guess. And same thing with, I don't know, CGI or anything. I was never impressed by anything in a movie because I there was just this total disconnect of, anything's possible in a movie, even though visual effects weren't that great when I was growing up.
But isn't that kind of the point to movie magic, in that sense that they work very hard to hide the strings, if I want to use a metaphor?
I think I was very much an animation nerd as a kid. I grew up idolizing Bruce Timm, Genndy Tartakovsky, all of that. So that kind of choreography, especially like Samurai Jack and the way those characters move, I was very much attuned to that. But I wasn't so much paying attention to physical live-action actors until probably The Matrix, and then so I was in my early teens.
Because everyone loves The Matrix.
Everyone loves The Matrix. And I did... Well, my youngest brother got interested in doing... I can't remember which form of martial arts it was. It was so long. It wasn't karate,
There's a lot of them, yeah.
but like no, it was more of a wrestling one. What's that one?
Oh god, yeah. My brain's completely Muay Thai. No.
Jiu-jitsu.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, we were doing that, and because I was so small, I was put in a class of children. I went, "This is humiliating. I don't want to do this." And I think it wasn't my fighting style anyway. And then later on, I was doing Wing Chun, and that was perfect. Like it's like an Earthbender style. If that here's me, the animation nerd. Yeah.
Well, the good thing about Wing Chun is that everyone has fun tonight. Everyone has Wing Chun tonight.
Exactly.
That was fucking dumb.
I think Avatar: The Last Airbender was when I finally really noticed martial arts as a thing in its own right. I mean, as well as
that
incredible animation.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It was kind of my bridge between the two worlds.
Funny you should say that. My brain was like, how did I get into martial arts? Oh, that's right. A little obscure thing called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, so for me it was Avatar, and I've always loved Earthbenders. I love Toph, so that very grounded, low center of gravity kind of earthbending style, that's where I went. And I would still be doing that until I got sick. I got chronic fatigue syndrome, so such a shame.
The mind is willing, but the flesh is completely broken.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I just talk a lot and write a lot about nerdy shit.
Yeah. I'm just a little fat kid that turned into a big fat man, but I still love I still love the physicality of martial arts, and it's always one of those things where like I think it's funny that we live in the post-Matrix world, and like the whole wireframe fighting became this huge thing, definitely through the early 2000s. Like everyone was mimicking the Matrix. There is literally a Matrix reference in Kung Pao. It was probably the first it's probably one of the first parodies of the Matrix that was actually, had CGI and tried to mimic the Matrix to a certain degree. And that particular scene, oh, jeez, I can't think of the character's name. The character, is it Mushu?
Something like that, yeah.
You still see that fight scene between the Chosen One and the Master Payne's Guardian still being spread to this day.
By the time this is done, you will be the world's foremost expert on Kung Pao. Just so you know. Because I am now the world's foremost expert on Prometheus. Like literally no one knows more about Prometheus than I do. Because I have spent the equivalent of at least a bachelor's studying Prometheus.
Several hours? Not several hours, several weeks, several days, several months.
I mean, it's a 3-year course. I basically gave myself a 3-year course on Prometheus.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Some would say that was well spent. Some would say maybe you should have spent it on a better movie.
I have learned so much, and I believe that I've done something of value, hopefully.
I applaud your efforts, and I would say, yes, I think Prometheus is definitely a movie that's worth analysis, even if you don't even fully understand it or even fully like it. It's got something there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what kind of drew me to... Okay, listening... I think we've already discussed this. Well, okay, it's my podcast. I think that's what drew me to do something like stupid and irrelevant. I also didn't want to ruin a movie experience by getting really deep dive into something I could just pick apart for endlessly. Okay, we're kind of doing that with RoboCop, but I think RoboCop has just such a thematically strong film.
Oh, it's a perfect movie. I think after we finish it, I will be able to watch it. I think I can still watch Prometheus, actually. I'm going to be doing an audio commentary, so that's going to be interesting.
I still think I can watch RoboCop, and I still think I can watch Kung Pao after these projects end. I think that's why I thought of Kung Pao. It's just like, it's a movie that's not trying to be anything more than it is. It's just Steve Odekirk having fun. At the end of the day, it's just... I'm entertaining myself, and I think I truly admire that as a filmmaker. I think it's just that thing of like, I don't care what other people say, and there's a lot of things that don't work in this movie. I've picked out a few of them already, but the idea that he's just like, I'm just going to entertain myself, and God, there's just some fucking great gags in this movie.
I realize what Ridley Scott does with his movies, to be honest. Oh my God.
Oh, did I just give you that moment of revelation? It's like, oh my God, this is why Ridley is doing all this crazy shit he's been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. I've just realized, it's just, he's up his own bullshit.
Yeah, he's basically making Alien fan fiction, but, technically on a budget.
Yeah, it's canonical fanfic.
Yeah, that kind of was my take coming out of Prometheus. Was just that thing like, this is why I can't remember if we talked about this on Prometheus by Minute. That's when I was like, I don't get why people consider him to be the be-all and end-all authority on Alien when he only made the one movie and he's been disconnected from the franchise almost up until making Prometheus.
Oh yeah, he just basically walks in, big dick swinging, like, I know there's been other movies in the past 30, 40 years, whatever the fuck, but here's the real truth, the only truth, and the ultimate truth of Alien.
Well, that's kind of one of the reasons I don't particularly care for prequels. Okay, yeah, I get why he would do something like that. I'm not disparaging that, but I just don't get the reaction where people are going, "Oh my god, Ridley's come back and it's all gonna make sense," or like it's the truest of true truths. It's like, well, no, he made one movie in a series, and he's, you know what? Yeah, good on him. He wants to come back and work some more on it.
True, not for play.
Yeah. Like, if
I can't believe I've referenced Drawn Together twice. I've not spoken about it in like 20 years, but here we are.
I will still occasionally put on an episode of Drawn Together because it's just such glorious trash.
It is.
It's so funny and so wrong. Yeah. Drawn Together would be an interesting episode by episode analysis because
Woo! Okay, we'll do that after Transformers.
it's such a dated piece of material as well. You know, it's
Oh yeah, it's so of its time.
yeah, and it perfectly encapsulates it. That's the other thing. The thing we've Drawn Together, it perfectly encapsulates reality TV in a nutshell. And even when it goes extremely fucking bug nutty towards the end of the series. I'm surprised you're probably the first piece of mainstream media that actually accepted internet culture as a proper art form in and of itself, with Spanky
Yeah.
being an actual main character, and they actually use internet humor for that character.
He's just kind of a SpongeBob parody too.
No, SpongeBob was the other character.
Oh, who am I thinking of?
Spanky is the pig.
Oh, he's the ham, right? So he was like the Kill Frog parody, yeah.
Oh god, I'm trying to think of the character's name. Fuck it, now I can actually Google web search. I'm going to look at character's name because that's the
Yeah, Spanky Ham.
Spanky
right.
Ham.
So that was actually probably a direct reference to the evil Three Little Pigs in Kill Frog, which was this website with all this flash animation back in the day.
Yeah, it's been so long to remember half what these are, because you had the Disney princess in Clara, you have Foxy, which is the
Foxy Love. I love Foxy Love.
Foxy's awesome. You have her, which is the Hanna-Barbera Josie and the Pussycats character. I've actually got the list up here. Captain Hero, who was the Bruce Timm pre-Zack Schneider just fuckery of Superman.
Oh, no. That's clearly... No, that's Homelander. For sure. Homelander all the way.
I think... I don't get... I don't want to get this on record, but I think this actually came out before The Boys.
No, but I'm just saying, like, he's not a Zack Snyder character. He's definitely, if we're referencing...
No, I'm saying this is the pre-Zack Snyder fuckery of... Or the pre-modern day fuckery of Superman, where it's like, no, Superman has to be a masochist, or Superman has to be a narcissist, or Superman has to be this. It's like, no, that's not Superman, man.
Wow. If Superman's really a masochist, he's going to be very disappointed because, like, who can actually hurt him, you know?
Superman has always been categorized as the Boy Scout, and I want to say Drawn Together is probably the first true kind of complete and utter deconstruction that's been outside of Superman. I mean, there's been some deconstruction within the series, within Superman itself, like Man of Steel. The original Man of Steel was like the reconstruction of the mythos post Crisis of Infinite Earth, and we're moving so far away from the...
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, can I have my segue into the actual episode? So, speaking of things with crass humor,
sorry, just quickly. Yes, The Boys actually came out several years out. They came out in 2006, and Drawn Together was 2004.
All right. But yes, so I have a theory that I proposed on Prometheus that buttholes, if you will, but butts in general are inherently funny. That said, don't think that farts always work. I think they must be used in a very, specific context at the right time.
This is the only fart gag in this movie, and it's an off-screen fart, and it still to this day makes me go, what the fuck was Odeka thinking with the phrase, killed the dog? I mean, obviously he was looking for something that was small, quippy, and could, explain that pained look on I can never remember the character's name in the original movie, but it's I can never remember the character's name in Kung Pao, but it's it's revealed to be Ling's father, and it's
Yes, but I think this works. I mean, I'm obviously only seeing the arse end of this scene, so I can't study it in.
It's a very funny cut that is like literally like, sorry, Mr. Tang goes, and then he killed the dog. It's cut to the flashback. Wince fart. It's like,
Yeah, so
what?
why that works is because that facial expression was already happening. They're just dubbing over it. So yeah, I think dubbing is actually probably the best and easiest way to insert the fart, because it's just like, power of God, I can put this fart in anywhere.
That's one of the joys of this particular movie, is that because Odekirk knew he was redubbing it, and he knew he was doing almost all the voices. The only voice he didn't dub was that of Woe, who was voiced by the actress Jennifer Tung.
Oh, there you go. And wait, tongue?
Yes!
Because there's tonguey. There's tonguey in this movie.
I'm absolutely certain I've got this right. It is Jennifer Tung. T-U-N-G.
Imagine you had that power in real life, though, that you can... not the tongue, but... You, at any time, could make a disembodied fart sound, not come from you. Like, you could throw it across the room. You can aim it. You can aim that fart sound. So, like, at a really quiet meeting, other end of the room, wow, just a humongous fart sound.
You know this is the superpower of the character called the Spleen in the movie The Mystery Men.
Is it?
Played by your favourite, Paul Rubens.
Paul Rubens. Oh my god.
Mr. Pee Wee Herman himself. It was post the controversy.
Is that his only power? Did I get that just bang on?
No, oh God, it's been a long time. So I saw the Mystery Men in the cinemas.
1999, so I would have been 7. I have not seen it since then.
I don't recall these Full Ranger powers, but I know he has a somewhat ventriloquistic thing. I think he got cursed with the power after he blamed the fart on a gypsy, and the gypsy cursed him that whoever smelt it, he will forever dealt it. Something like that. It's not a great film, but it made me laugh, and I do genuinely love it.
I think I loved it as a kid, but I have not seen it.
I've always wanted to do a shoveler costume. I dig well. But yeah, fart humor is definitely also a cultural thing. Like, some people just don't like it at all. Like, it's funny because I don't think, like, even in England, like a lot of toilet humor, farting is almost like the crasser form of humor. Yeah,
so toilet humor is not allowed at all in some societies. I mean, not outlawed, but it's just like, no, we have no tolerance for that. Or there are actually, especially some East Asian countries, where burping and farting are just kind of bodily functions. It's not considered gross. I don't think it's considered funny, actually. So it's weird.
Geez, it's almost like cultures that have a form of repression in regards to cultural norms. It's almost like they don't like it when there's bodily functions, and that's funny how that usually ends up being a high source of comedy. In like, if you think back to England, you got the vaudeville. And vaudeville is essentially just rambunctious, like, naughty, lewd. Burlesque is essentially a refined form of vaudeville, and the vaudeville was also just used to eviscerate politicians at the time. It was satire. It could get really nasty, but that was like the only form of power some people had, was just being able to laugh.
There is actually a real power to humor, and I think that's something. Just like, my family's always been funny. Humor has always been such a big part of my family.
Yeah, mine too.
Mum always says, I'm glad you kids all have a sense of humor. I don't know if I could have dealt with that if I had a really serious kid. But I think there is a power to it in terms of just endearing yourself to people, instantly making a connection. I think some people... I used to go to WAPA, West Australian Academy of Performing Arts. I studied costume. Super competitive, like one of the top theatre schools, but also costume courses in the world.
That is, like, internationally renowned now, especially the amount of, like, actors that come out of WAPA and then don't do anything until they go to Melbourne.
Yes. We really do need a film industry here. But
Yeah.
everyone in that freaking course was so up their own asses, so serious. You know, they were those reality show contestants who would say to the camera, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win." And then there was me just being a goof, doing my Pinky and the Brain voices, and just like, having a good time, not bothered by anything. And a couple of girls were really pissed off at that, just like, I don't know, as if I wasn't taking this seriously enough or whatever. I don't know.
Get your stick out of it.
Oh my god, they were the worst.
Okay, so what do you prefer doing, Pinky or the Brain?
Well, Pinky's a lot easier to jump into, I think. But Brain, it's more subtle, and it's about the pronunciation and the delivery
It's about getting that voice right.
and getting down. I mean, it's definitely out of
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
the same thing we do every night, Pinky. Rule the world. But it's definitely not in my vocal range. I think Pinky's a lot easier for me. So Starscream, Pee Wee Herman, Pinky.
I do like a Pinky as well.
Yeah. Nerf!
I still think my favourite Pinky the Brain response is, let me just try and remember, I think so, Brain, but I'm surprised this one grew back.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, that's from Animaniacs. I was like, who says they're like, fingerprints? Like, fingerprints?
Oh, yes, that was... Oh, God, I love Animax. They've done a new one. I'm not sure if it's out on them. Yeah.
We gotta do another, yeah. Which I haven't even watched the new Looney Tunes, so, yeah.
It's the one I remember they did a few years ago. Yeah, it was all right, but it was a little bit too sitcom-y for me.
Oh, okay.
It's certainly better than the extreme stuff like they tried to do a few years ago. And there's a great... Oh, God, speaking of 2002 to like 2004, there was this little animation where it was like Buzz Bunny, where it's like, the extreme!
Yep, I grew up in a weird time.
Yeah.
Okay, there was Batman the Animated Series, we had Gargoyle, but we also had Looney Tunes Extremes.
Yeah.
Why everything gotta be extreme?
Yeah, well, I think it was just a reverberation from the 90s where everything had to be extreme, and then the 2000s it was like, we need to establish our cultural identity. We'll just do that extreme thing, but more.
Yes.
And also, if you want to do a good Brain, you've basically got to study Orson Welles.
Yes.
Because that's literally Maurice LaMarche doing Orson Welles.
Yes. It was just so good.
So, I don't... no, that's probably too much of a divergent to talk about it. Talk about somebody else's story about how they became famous for doing a particular role. But yeah, hunt down Maurice LaMarche talking about how he became the Brain. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, no, I know, like, the specific butter commercial that he was inspired by even.
No, it wasn't butter, it was peas, wasn't it?
Butter. I'm pretty sure it was butter. But who cares? Anyway.
Yeah, I've heard the outtakes of Orson Welles just cracking his shits. It's so much fun.
We know a remote farm in Lincolnshire where Mrs. Buckley lives. Every July, peas grow there. Do you really mean that?
So I didn't notice until analyzing these minutes. So I've watched the movie probably many times, but actually breaking down the minutes and noticing that, the eyeline's a bit weird. Obviously, Tang is looking at Wimplo for most of this dialogue scene.
Well, in this particular scene, the Chosen One is 100% put in. I have notes on that. That's for next episode. But yeah, for the most part, anytime there's a student in grey, that is Jimmy Wang Yu. But for this scene, I think probably because they wanted to have the Fist of Fury gag.
Yes.
I think that's probably why Steve decided to have him as a separate character on screen. But yeah, they do the eyelines not too bad. They paid a very close attention to detail, trying to get so many things right.
Yeah, that's another thing I know is attention to detail, just to their solutions to certain problems. So obviously in this scene, eyeline isn't right. So how do we let the audience know where the Chosen One's standing? So the Chosen One just looks to his left at one point, and you get to see his profile, and you go, okay, so that's where it is.
Yeah, the spatial awareness, especially in this scene, because it literally cuts from... It does a really dodgy cut from the inside of the Crane School to Master Tang's bedroom. Which is such a Steve Odekirk gag.
I have to wonder, with all the technology we have now and, deep fakes and all of that, would they try to digitally change little details like where the direction of the eyes, where they're gazing, and that sort of stuff?
I reckon if you gave Steve Odenkirk another $10 million, okay, $10 million is not that much today, but like I reckon if you gave him another $10 million, he would probably tweak this thing within an inch of his life, and you'd never see it again.
That's the problem, is when you have too much control and too much power
Exactly.
over the thing, it actually doesn't usually make it better.
I do firmly believe that in some cases, having a hard deadline is actually not a bad idea. As long as it's not like one of those stupidly ginormous projects that are like, that's going to take you 6 months afterwards. And there's plenty of movies that they go over budget, they go over time. One of the beautiful things about how Odenkirk made this film is that he was there all the time. He was either on character, he was on recording, and because he could just record, he could just edit things in and out. And that's where 90% of this movie is just editing around footage and jokes so they could just chop and change it. He claims in the audio commentary he's got about 4,000 different cuts of this movie. It wouldn't surprise. But I think as we're talking about things that are happening next minute, I think we'll probably leave it here for this episode. And
We'll have to say that Tang screaming as he gets out of bed is the most hilarious thing. It's just like top 10 things that will always make me laugh.
oh, it's just so extreme. It's so amazing.
Well done screams do work. Like in I think it's the second Ace Ventura where Jim Carrey takes an arrow to both knees.
Also directed by Steve Odenkirk.
Yeah, really?
Oh, I'm doing the actual visuals and no one can see me, but yes, that's one of my favorite gags.
Or that one, I don't love Family Guy, but the one where Peter scrapes his knee, he falls over like,
Oh, I think I've seen footage of that.
and it goes on and on and on until it becomes funny again. So
Yeah, repetition in comedy is, I think it has to be dealt with well, because sometimes if you just keep going, it's not, or if it has to be funny to begin with, and then it gets less funny, and then it becomes funny again.
Yeah, there's like Kristen Schaal and I can't remember who her partner was in this particular act, but they had this stage show and they had the thing called Kristen Schaal is a horse, Kristen Schaal is a horse, and they just say that over and over and over again. Then you hear the audience. It was actually a podcast that was studying comedy, and it was because I'm a robot and trying to understand these things. So yeah, it was like Kristen Schaal is a horse, and then you can hear the audience laugh at first, and then it fades off, and then it goes for like another minute, and then the laugh comes back again, and it seems to just be this recurring psychological effect.
It's almost that thing where you also have to know when to stop.
Yeah.
God, now I think about it, it's basically an ebb and flow.
Well, if you have a live audience, that really helps, because okay, we've hit the next crescendo, that's as far as it's going to go.
I mean, we literally had that in the first big fight with the zoom in effects, like, and it's just that thing where it's just like,
oh my god, my brother and I just did that all the time, which is
oh, what I love about that is that was a reference to a movie where it was a drama, but they kept doing these, just whip pans and quick zoom in and outs. And Odenkirk claims, well, I believe him, but he claims he reviewed over 100 films looking for the right one for Kung Pao. So he absorbed a lot of bad, and probably a lot of good, but a lot of bad Asian martial arts cinema, trying to find just the one. And he does mention that it was pretty much Master Payne. I think he talks about it in the commentary for the next minute. Speaking of audio commentaries, and how is that for a fucking segue, Steve explains the process of acquiring the movie and their first impressions on gathering the footage. So this is probably exactly where we were talking about.
But I really sparked to it. And then it was like, okay, does the negative even exist? If it exists, it's somewhere in Hong Kong. Is it usable? Can it be unraveled? Where has it been kept? So
Tom Caranda. And
it was First Films. Tom Caranda, our producer in the movie, had contacted Michael Werner.
Exactly. Look at
who and First Films with Wong Hoi, who owns First Films, who's just a great man. We were able to get a hold of the negative, cross our fingers. We got a print struck at Photochem. We sat down in the room, looked at the print, and it was like, okay, back to the drawing board.
Horrible shape.
Yeah, print. And it was literally, listening to the guy at Photochem, it was like he was talking about my dying relative. Barely were able to get this thing digitally transferred to where we could revive it.
And in the What Are They Really Saying segment, does the Chosen One suddenly think he is a Highlander?
You are a man of glory. A lop off your head is an heirloom.
And finally, the narrator adding some of his own foley. So thank you for joining me on this episode, Connor, and please tell the lovely audience where they can find you and your content and all the bajillion podcasts.
Yes, so thanks for having me, and you can find me on traviandesigns.com, TRAVAAN. I'm fairly certain that is the... I've said that phrase so many times that I'm going to hear it before I die in my head. And
The last words, it's not Rosebud, it's Travian Design.
TRAV.
You don't even finish the designs, you just... It's in the castle of Arg. Sorry.
And yeah, well, so
Go to
there's-
Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. Yeah, that's the other one. So that's patreon.com/TravianDesigns. So yeah, that's where all my things are.
The funny thing is, I've been doing so many serious outros for RoboCop. I usually do a joke one here, but yeah, go give me money. I need a new computer. I have Ko-Fi, I have Patreon. But just search for Fanboy Crossing and Kung Pao into the minute. I mean, you found this, you're listening to it, so clearly you're doing something right.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll all stick around, and hopefully you'll stick around, Connor, because we've got a couple more minutes to go up, and I'm excited.
We do. Oh my god.
So I'll see you next week.
Bye.